This video outlines what you guys need to do to achieve P6. The criteria is discuss methods of continuing professional development and training relevant to the career plan. If you're wondering what CT stands for, it's for creative thinking. This is very much a research-based task. It's very personal to you. It's going to require you to think about your career plan and how you're going to develop in terms of your short-term and medium-term goals. To start your assignment, it would be good to have an introductory paragraph explaining that in all careers you have to undertake some form of training and continuing professional development. Your ability to get promoted is also sometimes linked to the training and development that you have done. P6 is very much a research-based task. Obviously, your career plans are all very individual to you. So what you need to do is research the different types of professional development. For each one, you're going to have to define them and say how you might partake in that type of professional development. So I'm going to go through an example of how you would approach induction training. It's also important to note that to meet the criteria, you need to ensure that you link all of your descriptions of professional development back to the information you have researched from previous tasks and answer the following question. How will all of the above help you achieve your short-term and medium-term goals? Now, I've just taken this from the standard BTEC help sheet. Basically, all it means is when you go through each of the professional developments, you'll have your definition of what it is, explain how you might partake in it, and link that back to your short-term or medium-term goals. So here I did a little bit of research on how to define induction training, what it actually involves. You need to make sure that you are keeping all of the hyperlinks that you find in the information. If you can reference them properly, that would be great. I'm going to put a how to reference log up on Moodle for you anyway. So here, induction training. Induction training is a systematic type of training. The features of induction training include training is part of the organisation's overall planning process and in line with its goals. The organisation has a training strategy which shapes the approach to employee development. Skills are planned for and addressed systematically through formal training. There is a continuous cycle of training, analysis, activity and evaluation. So to put that into simple terms, basically induction training is when you first start a new job and there will be specific planned formal training to inform you about the organisation's mission, aims and objectives. It'll give you an underpinning of all the systems that they used, basically all the basic skills that you need to be able to perform your job well, you will get in induction training. Okay, so we've pretty much defined what induction training is. Next step, you need to link it back to your short and medium term goals. So if you've chosen to take a sandwich course at university with a placement, you could make reference to the fact that when you go on that placement, you will have to conduct induction training. And then you'd explain what sort of induction training it might be. So say for example, if you're going on an accountancy apprenticeship, you might get induction training on Sage software. If you are working in events management, you might get induction training on health and safety of setting up marquees and different sort of equipment needed for events. If you've chosen to take up an apprenticeship, you will also be required to complete induction training, and again similarly you can discuss that. Whether you're going to be doing an apprenticeship or going to university, you can still discuss induction training as part of when you initially start your apprenticeship. So that pretty much covers the content you need to get. Let's think a little bit more now about how you're going to structure it in your assignment. So I've put a very simple writing template here together. For each professional development, you should have one paragraph, which is a description of the type of professional development, and a second paragraph explaining how that type of professional development will be useful to you and how it will help you achieve your short and medium-term goals. Okay, so here's a little bit of a model answer of what I'm expecting from you guys in terms of the quality of your work and the types of things you need to be discussing. I know it's supposed to be 2 paragraphs, had a bit of a formatting issue down here. So I'll read this out to you then. Induction training is the initial training that is given to new members of an organisation. The new employee has to start off with the basic training which would help them to navigate around the organisation and feel confident about their workplace. The training supports employees by providing them with the skills they need to achieve their potential in their specific job roles. Skills and knowledge acquired within the induction period are transferable to other departments. As I have chosen a sandwich course at university starting in September 2016 and my third year will be spent on work placement, I will likely undertake induction training with the company I am placed with. This helps me to be confident in my role and will help me develop new transferable skills that I can implement within other departments. For example, I will be aware of the company's mission and values, computer systems and operating procedures. I will partake in induction training in order to achieve my medium-term objective of completing my degree. This training will help me gain experience of what it's like working for a professional organisation, which will help me as I progress throughout my career. So this is very basic. I'd say the definition, that's fine. Ending, that's fine. It's been linked back to medium-term objective. The only thing that this is lacking is a real application to the individual and what the writer is actually intending to do as the career plan. So here, I would have expected a little bit more specific reference to the type of things that you think you might be learning given the career choice that you're making. So as I said before, if you're doing accountancy, think about what sort of things you might get in your induction training with accountancy. If you're wanting to do events management, think about what will be covered with your induction training for an events management role and put that in there so it's a little bit more personal, a little bit more specific to you. If you are doing an apprenticeship, this might be a little bit easier for you guys because on your apprenticeship it will outline what sort of things are included because apprenticeships are jobs but they've got more of an educational structure to them. So you should be able to find an outline of the sort of things that you might be doing within your induction period. If you already know which organisation you're going to be working for, then you can put that in there as well. Okay, just to summarise, I'll go through the instructions one last time. So to pass P6, you need to have really good, strong definitions of the different types of professional development. Make sure that you're referencing your sources. If you don't know how to, I'll show you and I'll put the instructions up on Moodle. Whatever you do, just make sure that you're saving those hyperlinks that you're using to get your information. After you've done that, for each of them, underneath each of the definitions, you need to explain how the type of professional development will help you and how it will relate to your specific personal short-term and medium-term goals. Okay, not all of them will apply to both. So like induction training, maybe it's more relevant to talk about short-term goals, whereas mentoring, it might be more relevant to talk about medium-term goals. That's up to you and depends on how you've set your short-term and medium goals and what they are. But you don't need to talk about short and medium for both. You need to choose which is the most relevant one to be discussing there. Okie dokie. If you've got any questions, just ask.